Sagittarius, this is your tarot reading for July. Most tarot readings during this year have been about global events. I'm not sure yours is, but I can see a few indications that it might be. But anyway, whatever, I hope you really get something useful from this. I really do, Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius, I've already said that I think this might be about world events, and one of the reasons is you go to that top right hand corner and that's the World card. Now, not because it's called the World, but it is a card of major changes, cycles ending and new ones beginning. And I think it's apparent to almost all signs now that the world is changing. We'll never go back to how it was before. Some people are pessimistic. In fact, most are pessimistic. I happen to be optimistic, but, we know that the world is changing. Many of us don't like change. We'd like to turn the clock back, but I think most of us recognise it can't be. So this is a card of major change. It's also a card of probably good luck. Now, this comes after you've been hanging around, you've been waiting. And I think many of us have been. You see that middle card there, the Hanged Man. You've been waiting to see the lie of the land, waiting for things to happen, not really knowing what to do. None of us do, really. None of us have got a full grip of what's happening, and we've been just biding our time. For some people, like myself, it's been enforced during the health crisis. I wasn't allowed to leave the island of Java. In fact, I was often caught in the wrong part of the Java and had to stay there for months on end before I could go to the part of Java I wanted to be in. So we've all been hanging around, and I've still got this feeling that I'm just biding time and hanging around. You look in the recent past, you've been saving for the future, you've been putting things down for the future. That's a good thing, but right now there's deception going on. I don't know if this involves your savings. A lot of people are going to lose some of their savings, but the universe wants you to know. Don't worry about it. Don't get wrapped up in these apocalyptic prescriptions, particularly that you see on this very platform. No, don't worry. But yeah, there is some deception going on here, and I think we're all beginning to realise that. In the future, you're making plans, and we have to make plans for a new world, but I wonder if we've got all the information on which we can plan yet. The thing that you can be doing, and you were laying down investments for the future. You can also be learning skills for the future. I think the skills that are going to be valuable are skills to do with people, skills to do with community, skills to do with practical things, with simple things, I live up on a remote mountain, and I am no gardener, and nor am I a handyman, but there aren't any handymen, and I've learnt to do many jobs around the house myself, and I grow much of my own food, and indeed medicine, because there's no health facilities. And it's those sorts of skills that I think are going to be invaluable. What would change the outcome is, you feel like you're carrying a huge burden. Is it that you feel like you're carrying too much? An ending's in sight, but you feel like you're carrying the burden of the world. Are you getting too tired of it? Because we've all got to pull together. We've all got to pull together to create this positive change. But there is positive change here. There really is. Please stick around. This looks a profound reading. I'm fascinated to find out what's really behind it, as I hope you are, Sagittarius. We've got this Hanged Man, this hanging around energy that dominates the entire reading, and I think many of us feel like we're still treading water. I certainly feel like I want to be doing something, but I don't know what. If only going on holiday, because my movements were, totally restricted for 3 years. And I used to go to Bali twice a year. But Bali is feeling more and more like Cuba in the 1950s. And it's becoming very expensive and very difficult to travel there from the rest of Indonesia. So actually this new year we went to Bangkok because it was cheaper and easier to go to Bangkok from Jakarta than to go to Bali. And in a few months I want to go away again, and I'd love to go to Bali, but we're going to end up going to Yogyakarta, our local city, because it's just so much easier and cheaper. But it's more than that. I know the world is changing and I want to do something about it, but I really don't know what to do. I really don't, and I think maybe you feel like that as well, don't you, Sagittarius? You feel you ought to be doing something, but you don't know what. And let me just say this to you, that this platform, the news, whatever, is full of fear porn. And I'm absolutely certain it's designed to panic you into doing the wrong thing. So this hanged man isn't a bad way to be. Now, given the uncertainty, many of us have been keeping a hold of our money. Some have perhaps been a bit miserly, myself included. But many of us have been making sort of long-term investments, saying, well, the world looks uncertain, maybe I'm better putting this money aside. And you have been doing that in the past. And now, when I talked about panicking you, this fear porn designed to panic you, I think some of it is designed at panicking you about investments. Now, for goodness sake, I'm not giving you investment advice. But when I look at things like cryptocurrency, gold, all these things we're being told to put our money into, I can see that all the markets are rigged. So we're being panicked to take out, I wouldn't say risky investments, because I think all investments are risky, but risky investment strategies, putting all our eggs in a single basket. And I think that's what's going on. I don't know if that's a warning here for you on it or not. And, you know, I've just been talking about all markets being rigged and being panicked into risky investments. And in the future, we have this deception card. Seven of Swords, somebody trying to get away with something. And now, there have been indications in July that they will be brought to justice. They will be found out. So whether they get away with the big deception, I don't know. But there will be a series of little deceptions, such as crashing gold, maybe, or crashing crypto, or, you know, I'm not telling you what it is. I'm not an investment advisor. Don't listen to me. Crashing the property market, goodness knows, but something's going to crash, and, you know, a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money. Currencies is another one, isn't it? You know. All I can say is, they are going to be found out. They are going to be brought to justice. Don't you worry about it. Let the universe, let God handle that. You get on with your life. You get on with raising your vibrations. And however much this hurts, don't get angry. Just you look after yourself, your family, your community. Not unnaturally, you're planning, you're wanting to do something different, you're wanting to create a better world, as am I, as are we all. And you're looking at radical alternatives. I'm not too certain. Oh, I was going to say, I'm not too certain. Do you know, I've just realised that deception card isn't the future, that's current. So the future is you planning. So you planning post this deception, planning a world outside of this deception. And we all are. I'm not too certain that we have all the information on which we can put forward these plans just yet. But there are principles surrounding working with others, working in the community, the subconscious and nature. And if we follow those principles, we won't go far wrong. If we follow the principles of the past, we will. So I think it's good to plan, but don't be too rigid. Now, I think one very positive thing you can be doing, and that is learning skills for the future. And that's exactly what you're doing, and that's going to lead to the outcome. And the outcome's a great outcome. So, yeah, learning new skills. It might be a bit laborious. You know, I indicated that I'm having to learn how to garden and do household repairs. And I'm not very good at either, and it is a bit laborious, but you know, it's very useful. I'm growing a lot of vegetables. There is no medical provision where I live, so I grow medicinal herbs. And I rather enjoy it. I don't enjoy being stung by the mosquitoes when I'm out there, or you know, getting pricked by thorns and what have you. And it can get extremely hot, of course, but you know, I try and do it in the early morning or later in the afternoon. But yeah, if you can be learning skills that you think will be useful for the future. And I think also amongst those are skills involving compassion, love. Skills that you perhaps never thought were important in the past. I think you're finding things a little bit tough. And we all are to a certain degree. You feel like you're carrying others, carrying the burden of the world, and we all do. But I think that's the way. These are things we've got to embrace rather than shun. So if we can have a different attitude towards it, so instead of thinking, well, you know, I mean, like I'm paying for my stepdaughters, I've paid for both of them to go to university, but the younger one, Indonesians, you know, if you ask them, how long are you studying for? They can never give you a firm answer. You know, they can't say, oh, it's a 3-year course. Well, this is into the 5th year now, and I'm going, well, what's happening, you know? And you say, well, how much am I going to have to pay each month? And they can't give you straight answers. And, you know, it gets a bit much. And if I approach it with love and say, well, I love her very much, and, you know, surely it'll be for good. She's at the best management university in Jakarta. She'll probably come out of it very well, and she's a very loving girl. Why am I thinking like, you know, can I afford this? So you've got to sort of see things from the positive side, because if you don't, you will destroy this wonderful new world that's beckoning us. Now, I've just said this wonderful new world is beckoning us, and I'm getting loads and loads of signs that ultimately these changes are positive changes, even though they don't feel like it. Despite the fact that, you know, this very platform is full of doom and gloom and Armageddon, many tarot readers are predicting gloom and doom. And don't get me wrong, there are some difficult and bad times ahead. But if we can think positively, fill our hearts with love and raise our vibrations, we definitely can create a better world. Now, other tarot readers, they simply see things, always paint a bright picture. And I'm not one of those. Now, I can understand why they do. But I really am seeing so much to be positive about. And, you know, we have free will. We can change not only our trajectory, but in changing our trajectory, we can change the world. And we can change the world to be a better place. And it's up to you, Sagittarius, to do that. I'd like to get some clarification on this deception card. Am I right about this financial things? Oh my God. Yes. Well, probably. Probably. First card, the Five of Cups, card of pessimism. Second card is the Seven of Cups, card of many opportunities, but not all are what they seem. Final card is the Devil card, unhealthy attachments. I'm going to explain all to you. Now, if you remember, we're clarifying this deception card, or this deception energy. And I said I think it was probably about financial investments. I mean, it doesn't have to be. You can interpret this in a different way. But I'm going to tell you the energies. And as I say, the first one is the Five of Cups, which is a card of pessimism. It's a card of glass being half empty. So you're looking at the world through sort of the opposite of rose-coloured spectacles. You're seeing the world in negative ways. And let's face it, we're being bombarded with fear porn to see the world in that way. But as a result, you're sort of missing opportunities. I think that's the wrong way of putting it. That's how you'd normally say with this card. I think it's the opposite, and I think it is that you're missing the truth on what's going on. You're not seeing things in the way that you normally would. You're overly pessimistic about things. Maybe there's a fatalism about this deception. And believe me, there's nothing to be fatalistic about. Those people who've deceived us, those people who've lied, those people who've manipulated, those people who've made money through our misery are all going to be found out and taken care of. You don't need to worry about it. Let the universe, let God, let them take care of those people. You get on with your life, fill it full of love, even forgiveness for all of them. See, you're being offered a number of opportunities, but not all are what they seem. So this sort of financial analogy does, it is a good one. Probably is about finance, in fact. But not everything is what it seems. Not all the opportunities are what they seem. Some are poisoned chalices, Seven of Chalices. Some are poisoned. Now, if you can spread, if we're talking of investments, if you spread your investments, then, if one goes wrong, maybe the others will be fine and it won't be so bad. But if you put all your eggs in the wrong basket, you'll come a cropper. And there is a definite warning about that here, definite warning, which is why I'm saying don't get panicked into crypto. I'm not saying don't have crypto. I'm not giving financial advice. I must emphasize that very strongly. Don't put all your money into gold or silver or whatever it is that you're being told to do. Be careful, be cautious. There's all this about the US dollar's going to collapse. I don't think it is. It's not going to be as popular as it once was, but it's not going to collapse. There is an attack on it being the reserve currency, but it's not going to happen overnight. In fact, I don't think it's going to happen at all. It'll be just a very gradual thing. And, currencies being devalued, or all currencies are being devalued, because that is how the economic system works. So, holding currency rather than assets probably isn't a great thing, but then what assets do you actually hold? And now we have the Devil card, unhealthy attachments. Now, if any card tells me that I'm absolutely on the right track in what I'm telling you, it's this card. However, I could interpret it one of two ways. One is that those people who are offering you dodgy investments or those who are rigging the market, they're consumed by greed. I used to say the Romans said, well, they probably did, but I've also found Ibn Arabi said it, one of my heroes. And that is that, money or wealth, it's an insatiable addiction, it's like drinking salt water to solve your hunger. Once you've got money, you can never have enough. So maybe that's what he's talking about. Or it could be about you, Maybe you thought that some investments are going to have wonderful returns, such as crypto, and you want to get in on it, and you get in on it just at the wrong time. Doesn't really matter which way round it is. The message is that you shouldn't be panicking. You should be having and it might not be investments, but a broad-based way of looking at things, and recognise that there is a lot of deception out there. Sagittarius, your July reading is almost a plot and a subplot. That's not that they're unrelated. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you about the subplot. You've been saving for the future. I almost certainly we're talking of money. And I'm pretty certain that there's a deception going on here. There's a deception going on that's based on your pessimism about the markets, because there's massive fear porn out there. And I think you get panicked into making a risky investment. Now, it doesn't have to be about money, this. It could be an investment in the wrong person. It looks like it's money, but it doesn't have to be. But I think you get panicked into making a risky investment, and, somebody is deceiving you. Now, we've got the devil here. It could be you. It could be you thinking, I'm going to make a load of money here. But no, I suspect it's them. I suspect it's pointing to them. But listen, whatever you think about those who've deceived you, just forget about it. If possible, even forgive them. Because I absolutely promise you, they're going to be found out. And they are going to be brought to justice. But that's not your worry. That's God's worry. Now, as I say, I think that's something of a subplot, in as much as you're hanging around. The world is changing. You don't quite know how, but you're hanging around to see how it changes. And as I say, you've been investing for the future. Maybe something goes wrong with it, but you've been investing. You're also planning, but you don't really know how to plan. But you're doing something very positive, and that is you're learning new skills. And I think those skills that you're learning are skills that you think might be valuable in the future. Skills such as being able to repair things, being able to do the garden, being able to engage with the community, understanding yours and others' subconscious, understanding nature. All of these things I think are going to stand us in good stead for a new world. And indeed, you learning these new things will help to herald a new and better world. What could put you off, Sagittarius, is all of us are going to struggle a little. You probably feel like you're carrying additional burden and feeling like, I pack it in. But you know that things are about to change. Now isn't the time to do that. Just keep on going. Keep on going with your learning. Keep on going with whatever it is you're doing. And I promise you, absolutely promise you, the world is going to change for the better. It really is.